Thank you. So, again, my name is Mitch Jones. I'm with Food and Water Watch. I'm the director of our very recently brand spanking new Common Resources program, which we launched 2 weeks ago, specifically to address the issue that we're all here to discuss today. I just wanted to very briefly talk about a proposal that is very local to those of us who are living in the DC region, and it is a plan to establish a water quality trading system in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. Back in 2009, shortly after he took office, President Obama issued an executive order. It was executive order number 13508. I'm going to go look at it. On the Chesapeake Bay protection and restoration. And it's, a pretty broad statement of the need to protect the Chesapeake Bay. For those of you who maybe aren't from here or aren't familiar with the story, the bay was once known as basically a giant generator of protein. It is no longer. The fishermen, the watermen who have relied on it have been in dire straits for years, and one of the reasons for this has been, of course, the rapid growth of the poultry industry within the Bay watershed. One would hope that if we wanted to reduce pollution runoff, particularly phosphorus and nitrogen from the poultry industry, that we would try to regulate the poultry industry. But instead of doing that, what we're going to do is establish a bay-wide trading system for nitrogen and phosphorus. So what the idea is to try to integrate. Some of these states already have pre-existing state-level systems, but this is an attempt to integrate those. So the states involved would be Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New York, Pennsylvania, and the District of Columbia as well. So far what has happened is, with the help of the EPA, interaction with the states, various stakeholders, the EPA has established a total maximum daily load for nitrogen and phosphorus as well as sediment for the bay. Each state has a portion of that load that they have been assigned. The states have been subdivided into subregions, which are then assigned a portion of that portion. At that point, though, of course, we haven't gotten to the point where you can actually trade, so we need to get this allocation to an individual level. The idea here is that we will have both point sources, which is to say a permitted source of pollution, like, for instance, a confined animal feeding operation or a wastewater treatment plant, say the Baltimore wastewater treatment plant. In their permits that they receive, they'll have a certain amount of pollution that they are allowed to disperse, just like in carbon trading. They'll then be able to trade for offsets from non-point source polluters, who of course are not permitted and therefore don't have the ease of being able to have a permit that allows them a certain amount of pollution. How these credits are going to be distributed at the individual level, how the offsets are going to work is still being worked on. It hasn't been set up yet, and it seems pretty clear that the distribution at the individual level is going to be, in some respects, left up to the states themselves. About a year and a half ago, I was at a conference put on by an environmental group and the Home Builders Association in Maryland, in which it was very clearly stated by Maryland state officials that Maryland itself could never actually have a really viable trading scheme that could deal with all the pollution that's created in Maryland, and so it's necessary to go for this bay-wide system. But like I said, it hasn't actually been established yet. There are attempts to prevent it. We at Food and Water Watch actually think the EPA has no legal authority to establish a trading system under the Clean Water Act. And we will be working to try to prevent it being set up. But just to wrap up, since I have a minute left, I don't have a quote that's quite as damning as the one that Antonio gave us from Citigroup, but I do have one that is still revealing, and it comes from the Timely Times, which is the newsletter of the Delmarva Poultry Industry Incorporated. For those of you who don't know, DPI, they're great friends of ours. They're the trade group representing poultry companies on the Delmarva Peninsula. And they described the Bay trading system as a way, quote, to help farmers earn money while providing polluters with the opportunity to increase their pollution. So that's the Bay trading scheme.